Hello lovely people, welcome to my spring favourites video.
Doobie 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 doo. Doobie 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 Sophie Vlogs.
I did a favourites video a few months ago and I mentioned that I was going to try and start doing them more regularly. I had not anticipated there being quite such a lifestyle change in the future. So this favourite video primarily focuses on stuff that I've been using to like keep myself chill or that I've been enjoying while in lockdown, that sort of thing. As such, it means I will be discussing lockdown a little bit. If you're someone who is just like, don't want to hear any of it, then by all means, just carry on. I promise it's not all like doom and gloom. It's just like, these are the things that I've been enjoying now that I'm spending a little bit more time just like chilling around on my house. As you can probably anticipate, this is going to have a lot of things that I've been watching, listening to, stuff like that. I do have some assorted extra items that I can actually show you, which is exciting. I'm going to kick things off with watching. So, first of all, I am one of those people who has taken this time to do some yoga in my front room. Yes, who is she? I've been really enjoying yoga with Adrian recently. I find her quite chill. I'm not very good at yoga. I swear a little bit too much while I'm doing it. So it's nice. She's quite like a chill, soothing. I can like pick the length I want to do. That's all good. Thank you to anyone who follows me on Twitter and who replied to my Twitter thread asking for recommendations. I've seen them. I have them all filed away. I have a big playlist. I'm just like taking my time, being chill about it, but that's something that I've really been enjoying. Another YouTube thing that I've really been enjoying is I've gotten super into Pixie Locks recently. Pixie Locks is a Canadian YouTuber. She has like the most beautiful style. I followed her on Instagram for a while before I actually decided to check out her videos because she's just got like this gorgeous like rainbow bright aesthetic and I really enjoy it. But I've had her videos in my watch later for ages, but now that I have a little bit extra time just in my flat, I'm actually getting through my watch later playlist, which is great. And I find Gillian so soothing. I find myself sometimes, there's like a little background music that plays in her videos, which reminds me a little bit of being in like a game. And sometimes when I'm just like doing things around my flat, I have the music playing in my head while I'm doing things, this is where I'm at with my watching. She's a fashion student, so there's a bunch of videos that are on like, she recently posted like one where she was making a top for her college. That was really interesting. She does a mix of video styles though, it's not all fashion. There's a lot of like just stuff that she likes, talking about like, she does a little bit sometimes on like body positivity, mental health, just like essentially I find her a very soothing presence to have on while I am doing things. She just has a really nice like energy and vibe to her, like her videos have a really nice like feel to them and I'm just finding it very, very soothing, which is much appreciated at the moment. Two other things which are giving me a similar sort of soothing vibe. I recently rewatched all of Bee and Puppycat, which is available on YouTube, and I will leave a link to it down below in case you haven't seen it. Bee and Puppycat is like, as a sort of like animation style, which I think, stuff like Steven Universe style, it makes me think of a little bit. I haven't watched a lot of these shows, but I would like to watch more of them. Bee and Puppycat, this was my first rewatch, and it's one of those shows which I think is really great the first time you watch it. When you watch it on a rewatch, things mean so much more. So the first like 2 episodes of Bee and Puppycat are quite like just chill, light. Bee is sort of like, doesn't really know what she's doing with her life. Puppycat is like this weird little puppy cat, and they get sent on Puppycat gets little like envelopes come through the bell on his little collar, and then it's like temp jobs, except the temp jobs are like they go to this gigantic TV screen, and then the TV screen like transports them somewhere, and they like in episode 2 they're on this planet full of giant cat things that want to keep Bee as a pet, and it's like weird and wacky. And then about 3 or 4 episodes in, you just get like a little bit more of like sadness. Not always sadness, but you know in Adventure Time when there's that song, I haven't watched a lot of Adventure Time, but I've watched bits and pieces, but there's that song which explains I don't remember you, and you know how that like changes everything, and then you're like, oh my god. Bee and Puppycat has a couple of moments like that, and then especially when you rewatch them with the awareness of those reveals, and then you see things or characters say things, and then suddenly you're like, oh my god, this has so much more meaning in like a bittersweet way. I don't know, I really enjoyed rewatching it. I would really recommend it. The other show I've been watching, which is a sort of like a similar vein, is that I finally watched She-Ra, Princess of Power. I haven't finished it as of recording. I might have finished it as of posting. I always knew I was gonna love She-Ra, but I do. I really like Noelle Stevenson stuff. I really like the animation style. I liked the original She-Ra when I was a kid. And again, this sort of, there's a similar vibe with both of these animations of like, it's really fun and like kids could enjoy it and that sort of thing. And then like every now and then there are these moments that like hit you slightly and you're like, oh my. But I'm really enjoying both of those. I do want to watch Steven Universe. I don't know where you can watch it in the UK that's not Amazon, because I try not to watch stuff on Amazon. And so if you have any recommendations for shows of that ilk, I would really appreciate them, because I think they are what I kind of want right now, which is good. Another like topic of things that I've been watching, so that's like my like pastel, bright, comforting loveliness corner. There's another corner which is like foodie things. I find watching food stuff very soothing. I mentioned in my last favourites that I was really enjoying Ainsley's Caribbean Kitchen. He's doing a Mediterranean one now. I don't know how long it's got left, but it's been equally as fun. He seems like a lovely presenter. It's a lot of fun. Also on Netflix, I really enjoyed Salt, Fat, Acid, Heat. Again, it's been something I've been meaning to check out for a while. I also want to get my hands on the book, because I know if it's anything like the show, I will love it. But yeah, again, like these vibes of like Salt, Fat, Acid, Heat was particularly interesting because it's like separating taste out into those things and like really analysing that, and like each episode is like based in a different place and then exploring from there, and I really enjoyed that. I've been listening to a lot of stuff as well. I mentioned Angie McMahon in my last favourites video, and to be honest with you, I'm still obsessed. I love her very much. But I also have got really into Mitski. I don't know about you. Do you also do this thing where you're like, I identify that I'm going to really like this thing, but I'm not ready to really like it yet. So I've been holding Mitski, just waiting for my Mitski moment, and it has arrived. My favourite songs so far are A Pearl, which is why I want to now watch Steven Universe, and then Geyser, I can't say that word, Geyser. And Frances Forever. Those are like my top 3 songs right now, but I haven't explored her fully. But there's like a genre of, I like to call them wailing women, that I really enjoy, where it's like, woman unleashes her voice and just like, you're like lost in a torrent of emotion, and Mitski is like a similar thing to that, so she joins like my little like wailing women group that I listen to when I need just like an emotional release. So really been enjoying Mitski. I've been finally trying to catch up with some podcasts. So I really enjoy the Cry Power podcast, which is Hosier's podcast, where each episode he like talks to a different person. I really enjoyed his one with President Higgins. That was really interesting, and it's all about sort of like the activism and stuff that they've been doing like throughout their lives and that sort of thing. So it's been very educational to learn about a lot of stuff. As Me with Sinead is another one, which is again like Sinead sits down and like has a different guest on each episode. I really enjoyed the Florence Welch one. It was super interesting. Sinead is such a lovely, like, I'm familiar with her through some of her activism and like some speeches that she's given and stuff. She's such like a lovely, warm host to have, and she always comes out with like, I don't know, there are certain people who interview well in a way that doesn't feel like they're interviewing. It just feels like you're having like a lovely chat, but actually they're like really drawing out meaningful stuff from people, and I feel like Sinead does that really well. And then finally is one that I've been listening to for many years, and that's Harry Potter and the Sacred Text. I am like at least a year behind on episodes because I listen to too many things and there's no time and blah blah blah. But they do, every episode is a different chapter of Harry Potter as they read through, but they approach each chapter with a different theme, so that usually is an emotion of some kind, and then they use sacred reading practices and they apply them to the Harry Potter text. And it's one of those podcasts which I find very soothing. I find even when they're discussing stuff that is, sometimes they're delving into like the trauma of characters and stuff like that. Sometimes the emotion that they're looking at is one that is quite, it's not always just like joy, but they always have such interesting discussions. It always makes me think, it always makes me approach not only those texts, but also try and apply what they're saying to like other texts and other like walks of my life and that sort of thing. I just think it's a really wonderful podcast, and I've been actually finally catching up. But yes, I've been really enjoying listening to all those things. I'm going to show you some things now, because up until this moment it's just been me blathering with no props. First of all, are these amazing shoes. I love these shoes so much. These are from Yull. Yull is a fairly ethical company that is based in Britain. This is all British made. The leather they use for their shoes is either vegan leather or it is offcuts of leather that have been used in other manufacturing, and they take all the offcuts and make sure they don't go to waste, which is really great. It's all British made, blah blah blah. It's funky designs. I feel like a cartoon character when I wear these. I will say, it's very expensive. These shoes, this shoe style on the website is £124. I got these on eBay for 30 quid. I've never been more thrilled. I was 100% expecting to like not get them, like someone was going to swoop in and spend like so much more money on them, but that didn't happen, and I'm thrilled because they are. I will say, I don't normally spend a lot of money on shoes and clothes. I get most of my shoes and clothes second hand or from like little independent things if I can. I try to just like use less throughout my life. These are, I can tell the quality when I wear them. My feet have never had such foot support. It's so cushioned, it's amazing. They are really beautiful. I love them very much. They might notice I have like a pastel theme, because I really am embracing this, like, the sun has come out, which always makes me want to be like a pretty pastel princess, and then also like, just, you know, the moment. So I also have, this is my magical girl little case, which I fill with all of my essential things. Mainly it's got a lot of hand cream and balm and notepaper and lippy things in there at the moment, but it makes me feel magical. I also bought some really gorgeous magical yarn. These are my pastel rainbow yarns. I'm going to make a rainbow wreath, I hope. I don't know if I've got enough yarn to be able to cover the wreath that I own, but I'm going to use these. They're from a little independent Etsy shop, which is Wildflower Yarn. She like hand dyes in batches and stuff like that, and I'm just trying to support like independent people while we're all in lockdown, and like I know people will be struggling more and that sort of thing. So if I am spending money, which I'm again trying not to do, but if I am spending money, I'm trying to spend it on like local indie, that sort of stuff. On that note, I've also got really into honey. This is honey from some bees that live on the top of a building fairly near where I live. I've just been getting really into like local honey, local beekeepers, like beeswax candles and stuff like that. Like, I'm again trying to support my local people in all the ways that I possibly can. I'm just going to end this with one or two little foodie things to segue from that honey. One of them is this book. This is The Green Roasting Tin by Rukmini Iyer. And this is one of my favourite cookbooks. I have a propensity to collect cookbooks as like entities that I think are beautiful, and I look at the recipes, and I read the recipes, and sometimes I just like sit down and bookmark recipes that I want to make, and then I never cook anything from them because I'm disgraceful. This is like the opposite to that. I cook from this cookbook all the time. It is super easy to sub out ingredients, because I don't know about you, but I can't go to the shop with a list of what I actually want to buy. Like, I just have to be like, here's a vague sense of what I need, and then see what they've got. Like, everyone who's spending lockdown baking, I'm very jealous of you, because I cannot find all of the baking ingredients in any shops. I've not baked a thing. But this is very super easy, just to like, what have you got? What can you do with that? Let's see. They're all split by time, so like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, longer. And this is the vegetarian and vegan one. She does have a bunch of other ones. One of them is like specifically like quick meals, that sort of thing. I just think she's great. I think her recipes are great, and I just love cooking from her book. On a vegetarian note, I also got food delivery from a local cafe that are like starting to do food deliveries of like just your basics and stuff. And I got some This Is Not Bacon, which is fake bacon, and good crikey, it's the best fake bacon I've had that I can cook at home in my life. It like has that really good like smoky bacon quality whilst also like not being bacon, and I just wanted to mention it because I didn't know it existed until I looked at this place's website, and now I want to just like eat it forever. I don't really eat fake meat very much as well. Like, I mainly just eat vegetables because I'm veggie obsessed, but I really liked it. And then the final thing I just wanted to mention is that everyone has been playing on Nintendo Switch and doing Animal Crossing, and I've been really, really jealous of you all because I do not have £300 to drop on a Nintendo Switch, but I do have £20, and I did drop it on a Nintendo GameCube. So while everyone else is doing Animal Crossing and I'm being very jealous, my partner and I have been doing Super Monkey Ball and Mario Kart Double Dash and WarioWare and all these things. So like I've been living that retro gamer life, which I never got to live at the time that it actually happened because I didn't have a GameCube, and I had a friend who had a GameCube, but I was never allowed to play the GameCube. So I spent a lot of time watching people play GameCube as a child, not being able to play it myself. So I am thrilled. That was everything I wanted to talk about this time. I just wanted to do like a little snapshot of the things that have been like keeping me chill, keeping me happy, that sort of thing, just in case it's helpful. I would really love to hear from you. What have you been enjoying? What has been like brightening up your lockdown? Please do let me know if you have recommendations for shows similar to like Bee and Puppycat and She-Ra, that sort of like cozy little bubbly type thing. I'm really enjoying them. And yeah, if you have any thoughts on these, I'd love to hear them. But I hope you're doing well. I hope you're keeping as good as you can keep. And I will see you next time for something that is probably more bookish related. Until then, have a really nice week.